Thank God. Everyone, close friends are safe. No one in around my world has gotten this. But when it first happened, I lost a dear friend. That was when it first happened. But other than that, everybody's been prayed up and safe. How's your family?
Everybody's fine. Everybody's fine. Uh, Dr. Hoskins, I appreciate you once again coming on your show. On our show, I discovered you, like I said, on Facebook. Someone shouted you out with your product, your brand of syrup, and I said I have got to have her on my show because I think everyone needs to know who you are, your story, and just the blessing that you are giving to the community, the Black community, as well as the world at large, showing what you can do when you put your mind to it. And so our show Interruption basically is about interrupting that regular thought process of what you thought you can do, can't do, what's real, not real, and present it to the world so we can change people's normal thought process and behavior. My first question for you today is, what made you choose the food industry? What made you get into the food industry?
Uh, well, it wasn't really getting into industry, Otis. What I found out, or what I realized I read in the 80s, there was going to be the decade of the woman, and women were going to emerge as CEOs and executives of companies.
Okay.
I wanted to be part of that movement, and I'm like, okay, how do I do that? And so I thought about where I could go and get a job like that. I said that takes more schooling, so I decided, why couldn't I be the CEO of my own company?
Okay.
And it started with wanting to have some ownership to my life, to my destiny, and to my future. And right as that was happening, there was a family recipe that my great-great-grandmother had passed down through 4 generations.
Okay.
And so she was a freed slave. Her mother died as a slave. And so when this recipe came and got in my hands, I was like, wow, why don't I try to put this on the market? Start my own company and be CEO of my own food company. And that's how I got into food. I thought about the opportunity before I thought about the product.
Wow. So it's a recipe that was handed down from generation to generation. And you were looking at, like you said, in the 80s, that it's the decade of the woman. And you took what you had and made something out of it. Can you, for our listeners and viewers that will see this, can you kind of expound on that, far as how do you look at, instead of searching for something, but how do you take what you already have and make something out of it?
I think God gives us all of us, something. And what we love to do. It's something that I say, if you can do something and don't worry about getting paid for it and love doing it, that's your passion. And so I didn't realize that this was my passion. It's not so much, I tell people a couple of things. If I could take honey, butter, and cream and make it into a multi-million-dollar business, what can you do? And so it wasn't so much the recipe or the movement, it was the desire to create something that I could build as a legacy and pass it down to generations. Do something that we've been trying to do through the Madam C. Walkers, through all of our historians that have come up with great ideas. I mean, Black folks invented everything. We invented almost everything, from the stoplight to the hanger and everything. And so I want to know, how could I start something and make the legacy live on? And so that was my big push. So I have this recipe, I have this desire, but let's create a legacy that I can not only pass down through my children, but my children's children, and see how that felt and see what that looked like. And that's what kind of, all that woven together kind of made the story a success.
Well, that's what the Bible says, to do, to leave an inheritance for your children's children.
Right.
Thank you for doing that. Once you decided to take what you have and get into the food industry, what were some of your professional and personal challenges as you started walking through this process?
The wall was already up there. was already a wall. I didn't see any doors. I didn't see any ladders. I just saw a wall. And so when you see a wall, sometimes you have to figure out a way to get in. And so what I realized is that back in the 80s, diversity was kind of, I don't want to say hot, but diversity was on the uprise, because it was a lot of people that in the food industry, if there were any at all, there were my color or a woman. And so I was able to sit down and carve a wall, carve me an entrance into this retail industry by, first of all, developing a great product, something unique and different, and being consistent in the fact that I followed through on the formulation, understanding the process, understanding the packaging, understanding the cost, understanding the whole business of it. Because I think a lot of times we miss out by not really understanding what we want to do. We get this desire, we want to be, you know, the best of whatever we're doing, whether it's a barber or a beautician or, you know, someone in the food industry, but you need to understand your craft. You need to understand. With me, I had to understand my competition. Who was my competition? Who were the margins? I had to understand the business of retail before I could become successful in it. And that was a learning curve for me because I had never been in it. And so I took those first 4 or 5 years and really understood what the retail industry meant. It's at that time it was a $50 billion a day industry. Now it's a $100 billion a day industry. What did it mean? The retail industry makes $100 billion a day. And so to get in that, you have to not only, you can maybe like get in through the door, but how do you live in this industry? How do you set up shop in there? And that's what I had to learn.
While you was doing that and learning that, honing in your craft professionally, what were the challenges? Because when you think about, okay, this is what I'm going to do, you know, professionally, I'm going to leave an inheritance for my children's children. I'm going to take what I have, what God has given me, this recipe. How did that affect you personally as you're trying to, you know, navigate the waters? What was going on, like home life? How does that?
Okay. Oh, home life. Okay, so you have to understand. 35 years ago, I had 3 small little children. I was married, and I was going through divorce. And that kind of was also something that made me want to be as independent as I could. You know, being dependent on a relationship, being dependent on how he felt. It was like, no, I got to do something different. So it affected me in the sense that once I decided to do this and go through all of the processes of doing it, I wrote a book about it. When I really got down to, okay, now you have a product, I had no capital. So I had to decide how was I going to fund my own self and my business. So I sold everything that I owned, everything, and moved back home my mom's basement and put the kids in the attic and started manufacturing this product in her basement. I got on welfare because I didn't have any other means of income. And I decided at that point, this was going to be something that I had to do. It was the only game in town for me. It was no other game, no other, this was it. I had chose this, and I had told my daughters, look, I'm getting ready to make this a success. And so I went through a divorce, sold everything I owned, and started my company in my mom's basement. And the kids lived in the attic and on welfare.
Wow. So let me go a little bit deeper into that. So
okay.
No,
go ahead. I love it. I love the questions. Go ahead.
So where I'm going with that, so you had to, and because the Bible teaches us this, but we rarely do it. So you had to let go what was already in your hand, right? You had to empty yourself in order to let God come
fill myself back up.
I'm gonna fulfill you with something else, but you got to let go with
what you had.
Wow.
See, a lot of people looked at what I had. I had accumulated some materialistic things, nice apartment, nice. But I thought about this: how is this going to look 10 years from now if I don't do something drastic? And to me, a job is just a description of. It changes who you really are. You're this clerk. You have to be at work at a certain time. You have to leave at a certain time. You can be sick so many days a week. You take a break. And that was confining to me. And I was like, I just didn't want to be in this cage. I want to be free. And the only way I could be free was to say, God, give me the perseverance and the knowledge and the direction to make something happen that I can make happen. And I created my own destiny, which we all have the power to do. We just don't do it. We all have the power to get up and say, today is the day I'm going to start this, and just keep going. And if you stop, the dream stops. And so I just was one of those people that just say, hey, this is it, only game in town. And so it changed my children's life. It changed me financially. I sacrificed, I invested in myself. I invested work and hard work and perseverance. But it's a reward. It's a reward. And I think now, after 35 years, my reward is showing up.
Well, it's showing up. How did that, as you was going through the process, right? When you said, you sold everything you had, right? You moved in your mom's basement,
right?
You kids in the attic, and I'm sure there was some trying times as as you're going through the process of making the product, trying to get it out. How did that affect? Because you're still a mother, that's one of those jobs you can't.
Your mother first,
right?
Your mother first.
So how did that affect your kids through that process? When at the time, like you said, you're on welfare, you're at your mother's house, not a whole lot of money coming in right away. How did that affect them as you're trying to raise them and get this product out at the same time?
I fed them the dream. I fed them the dream. I said, this is the dream. This is what we're going to do. And I led by example. If I'm up filling bottles at 8 o'clock at night, and you sit next to me, you could go to bed a little early. I'm still filling bottles. When I went to put it on the shelf, you came with me. They really grew up in my business, and they learned my business. And so my middle daughter was with me for quite a while, and she went on to be an entrepreneur. And my youngest daughter's with me. So it was, they understood. And then what was going on, Otis, at that time, because I was rapidly doing this and I was an easy learner in this business, I started getting accolades, some accolades. I was on Oprah's show. I got, it was a new kind of story for the media. And so they were kind of excited about, we didn't have any money, but we had a lot of opportunities to talk about the story and try to develop the story as we went along. I had some challenges, some health challenges. I was diagnosed in 1993 with a massive brain tumor.
Wow.
And doctor said, well, you got 6 months to live. And I'm like, oh, no. God got something from you. Oh, yeah. In 1993, for a whole year, I could not see. I could not focus. And my daughter would read all my contracts. I went through that. I've gone through cancer. But every challenge I've gone through, sometimes you go through challenges and God gives you something that you have to focus on through prayer to get you through everything. And if you don't get that one focus for prayer, you might miss out on some things. So I had to not only pray for the business, but pray for my health, my longevity, my guidance. And so it just made me into the person that I needed to be for this journey.
Wow. When you just said that, all of that, listen, when you said that, you took me to Job. You're going through it, financially.
You're going through it health-wise.
Health-wise, your body, and then you still, but the thing that you did that we all need to realize is that you held on to the promise of God. Because you understood that he's not a man that he should lie. So if that's gonna happen, it doesn't matter if I'm sick, what the doctors are saying. I mean, like you said they told you got 6 months and you still.
I told him, I said, I told the doctor when I had this headache for a year and I could not find out what was wrong. And so when I went to all these different doctors, I finally went to a headache specialist. Okay. And he gave me something that no one else, he gave me an MRI. He said, my God, you got this massive tumor pushing on your pituitary gland. That's why your vision is slurred. That's why you have these. I had a headache every day. I used to sit, and I remember when I sat in church and could not see my bishop. I said, God, something wrong when I can't see past the brazier. And then when I went to the doctor, finally got there, the doctor said, this tumor is so big that it has to be removed, but you might not survive this. I told him, I said, you don't know who I am. You do not know who I am. I'm a child of God, and prayer's gonna get me through this. If prayer got me here, prayer's gonna get me through this. And prayer got me through it. And one thing, after I had a surgery, I did have to have surgery, But after I had surgery, what happened to my life is I went holistic. And I start understanding the body and cleansing and taking care of yourself. Because I tell people when I speak, a CEO can't call in sick.
Right.
You know, you can't call in sick if you run the company, because who gonna take your place? So you know, and it's certain lessons that I learned along the way, and one of them is health is very important. Perseverance. It's just some really good lessons, Otis, you learn through your journey to where you're trying to get to.
Wow. My next question I have for you. You such a blessing. I love talking to you. With everything that you were going through in that time frame, talk to me a little bit about the support that you got from your friends and family.
You know, when I first started, I didn't get any support, because if you have to think about this, you know, my mother was the baby of all of her family. So my mother passed in '93. So my mother and father were from the old school.
Okay.
And when I first told them I was going to do this, they did not understand, how are you going to take this and get this on the retail shelf? It was no connection of understanding. And that was one thing I saw that we did not have in our community, is that the faith base, or the believing in oneself, had not been developed enough yet in that generation. If you understand what I'm saying.
Yes.
So I didn't have to have that support. It was if it was there, it was solid. I had divorced from my husband, so I had kind of married this company, and I've kind of been single through this whole situation. But sometimes that's a sacrifice that you have to have. So the support basically came from my children. I met friends along the way, but you know, the ones that stayed are still there. The ones that dissipated are gone. So my biggest support was God. My biggest support was late at night, my prayer, my journal, my, you know, believing in myself, knowing that anything the mind can conceive can manifest through hard work, perseverance, and faith. That's always been my three things I've gone on. And I knew God had given me something to make a difference. And so it was like my journey to do this. And had I given up, who would I have been? I've become a better person by taking the journey than getting off the bus.
That's, you know, and that's why I said to you that your story and you personally remind me of Job, because you had a situation where it's just you and the Lord.
It's me and the Lord.
And a lot of times,
you mean the Lord.
Well, a lot of times we don't realize that's still a great place to be in. Long as you with Daddy, and it's you and Daddy, and you know Daddy got, you know what's so amazing? We forget that everyone that he calls out, right? And everyone that he gives a vision, it's your vision. Everybody can't see your vision. That's why it's actually your vision, because everybody can't see it. But what he will do is, on your way, he will place help in the midst of that on the way, in order for you to be successful to what he told you is going to happen. So I'm so proud of you. I am so encouraged and inspired by you, because it's easy to do this when you have other people sharing your vision, or you have other people, you know, patting you on the back. And what's so amazing, you said your main support was through your children, but they were, like you said, when
they
you
were
guys
babies. They were babies growing up, right?
But you know the amazing thing about children. Children believe whatever parents tell them. So if you say, "Look, we're gonna do this. We're gonna put this agreement on," they know we rocking with Mama. Mama said, "This is what we doing. This is what we doing."
Right. And that's what they did. They did that, Otis. And you know, a lot of times, you know, you think, you know, because I have been, and I don't mind saying, it, single through this whole process.
Sure.
Because I had, you know, it's been situations that the male in my life, the person in my life that I really wanted to try to do, did not understand my journey or what I need to do, because this is not a journey, a monetary journey. I try to explain to people, this is not a monetary journey. This is a spiritual journey, with the direction being, how do we as Afro-Americans build wealth and pass a legacy on and break the curse that we have we've gotten into. You know, we buy houses and we sell them, and we leave here and our kids have nothing, you know, but memories. And so at some point we have to take charge of our own destiny. We have to have our own stuff. You know, I mean, I'm gonna just give you a real quick example. And I love this example because there's a book out and it's called The $50 Billion Boss.
Okay.
And it's a book that a Kathy Porter wrote, and I'm in this book. It's not that the women in this book did $50 billion apiece. It's that since 1993, Afro-American women have contributed $50 billion to the economy.
Wow.
And if you trace that, Otis, it does not come back into our community. Because with me, I buy millions and millions of caps. A cap, a simple cap. I cannot find one Black company making a cap. So at some point, we need to stop and start from the ground up, developing things that people can use so we can get in the game. You can't ever get in the game if you don't have a chip to get in the game. That's like standing around trying to get in a poker game and you don't have a hand.
Right.
You know, you got to get dealt a card. And so if you can't get dealt a good hand, create your own hand, create your own card game. And that's what we have to learn how to do, because if I keep growing, how can I put it back in the community if I cannot buy from the sources that I need to keep going?
It's amazing you said that, because when you think about what you've created, right, with your family recipe, and then what you just stated, we got to learn to think outside the box. So I hope that people that'll be watching this will understand. Okay, she's got a brand, right? You have a brand created, a brand of syrup, and you're saying right here, like, hey, I don't see another African American that make bottle tops. I need somebody, because then we can put that back into the
community. I can support your business making caps that you're going to hire Afro-Americans with to make money. And so you have to think about that. And so at some point we have to start figuring out, how do we become independent people? Because we're the biggest consumers of other people's goods. You know, you come in somewhere and you buying someone else's goods. Now with me, I think that what I would love to do is to create a manufacturing facility, because I'm in a position to do that. But then when you do that, it's like you still have to incorporate so many other entities that are not us. So at some point we have to start, maybe we start with a product. You know, that's it. I start with a product. You start with not so much product, like with me, if I could find a Black label company, and I'm pretty sure there's some out there.
Right.
You know, that are label companies, or like I own my own bottle mold. You know who makes it, don't you? White company makes my bottle. My name is on it, but but they have to make it. So at some point, I think economically we will have to, and maybe this is a generation that's gonna wake up. Maybe all the stuff that's going on now is gonna give us awareness. You know, we understand what has been fictitious and we understand what is real.
Well, and that's why I'm glad that you came on, because it needs to be said that we're all not going to be entertainers. We're all not going to be athletes. But what we can do is like yourself, take an idea and say, well, once people watch this and say, okay, I need to fill that need she's looking for. She's looking for someone to make the bottle top. She's looking for someone to make the labels, African American. So if I can do that, or if I make labels, let me send her information. Go to her website and send her information. Here's how I've done labels before. You give me the graphics of what you have, I'll make the labels for you. Now we're growing together as a business, and a lot of people don't know that they can do that. I always told somebody, and I'm sure you agree with me on this, it's amazing what you said about when you was talking about manufacturing and creating the syrup, right? And I always say, think about whoever invented the clothes hanger. Think about that.
Black man.
See,
did you know that? Did you know Black man could
I didn't know. I didn't know that. But one of the things that was always in my head was, I can imagine someone says, hey, listen, I'm gonna create this thing in this hanger, and what it's gonna do, you're gonna be able to put your clothes on it and just put it in the closet. And I'm sure somebody said, man, if you don't go on with that, that ain't gonna work. That ain't
you better keep trying to use that hook. You know what I'm saying? That's what they said. And if you think about this, look in everything in your room, in your house, in your environment came from an idea to be made. Everything. You sit in your doors, your door handles, your bookcases, everything. And these were created, and a lot of African American there are inventors, because there's a book I call African American Inventors, and you'll be amazed at what we've created, and we don't get the knowledge for it. We don't get the accolades for it, but it's something out here for everybody. It's something out here for everybody. It's a big world, and everybody's not going to be an entrepreneur. Everybody's not going to be that boss, but you can create a business where you can have it where people feel equal and people feel good about helping you with your dream, because your dream becomes their dream, and their dream helps the community. Sure. We got to figure out, how do we help the community? Sure. You know, how do we understand? And we also have to raise children that understand the value of community. Correct. You know, I don't know how it was at your house last night, but in my house, it was it felt like a war zone in Chicago with these firecrackers. They went on from 3:30 until 4:30 this morning. And I'm just thinking, you know, every time you lit that firecracker, that should be bread on your children's table. Or where are values? You know, where are you going and buying firecrackers from a company that gets them from China? Because we're not making no firecrackers. You spend all this money and you just burn them up for what? To make noise. And so we have to also start educating ourselves and being a little bit more aware of what we want the future to look like.
What are some of your from where you are, from where you started and to where you are now? What are some of your success stories that you have that you could share with us that throughout the years that you're proud of? Oh, your mute button on. Your mute button went on. There you go.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Go ahead.
I can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
What happened?
I don't.
Oh shoot! Oh, I lost you.
I can still see you. Can you see me?
Go back to Zoom. I done lost you.
Can you see me?
Oh shit!
I can still see you. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I gotta go back. Okay, I'm back. Now I'm back. But how do I get you back to here?
Can you hear me?
Chat.
I can see you.
Hear you.
Can you hear me?
Okay. Wait a minute. Oh shoot, that's okay. Oh, I'm back.
Can you hear me?
I'm back. So I'm trying to get you so I can hear you.
Okay.
Record, chat. Okay, so unmute the speaker. Oh, yes, I know you think I'm like, where's the speaker?
No, it's at the bottom. It's at the bottom.
Again. Mute.
Is it on mute?
Oh, chat.
No, because I can hear you.
Mute my auto, unmute. How do we do this before, Otis? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm saying you. I'm saying record, reaction, share screen, chat. Should I hit chat?
No, chat is just, you're gonna just type, but I can hear you. You still can't hear me? Your mute is on. That's what's your mute button is on. I can't hear you.
Okay, so I'm unmuting you. Okay.
Okay, I can hear you.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. All I did was pause it. Okay.
Okay. So now, are you getting the feedback? No.
No, I'm not getting feedback.
Okay. Speak and pause. You hear replay? Yes. I don't want to hear the replay. Speaker.
No, you don't have to replay. I'm just
Okay.
I'm just gonna take it off pause. I just paused it. That's all I did.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Okay.
So
We'll be back.
All right. So wait a minute.
You were asking me.
There we go. Okay. We got it figured out.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I was asking, basically what I was asking is everything that you've been through from since you started to where you are now. I was trying to say if you could share with us some of your success stories that you are proud of.
Oh my God, there's so many. Oh God, there's so many. Some of the things I'm proud of. Okay, I'm proud of ways that I figured out how to successfully fund a company without any money. Now this is kind of interesting. So remember back in the early '90s when Denny's was in trouble. Remember that?
Yes.
When they were okay. So I called Denny's every Monday morning at 10:30 for 2 years to get some business from Denny's. And finally, I got a $3 million contract, which gave the company about $300,000. So persistence. That's the thing that I felt that, you know, I was going to keep going until I got that done. Being on Oprah show a few times was one of my, you know, highlight moments. I love that she brought me on and I was able to do that 3 times. I've mentored over 200 people in this business, which I'm very proud of that. People have come to me with all kind of ideas. I want to put this on the market. And so they've taken my course and I've been able to even mentor girls on Shark Tank. I've been able to, you know, just get national distribution. That's been hard. My biggest problem I don't want to call it a problem. My biggest challenge always has always been consumer awareness. Now you just heard about me, but I have been on the shelves 35 years. I've been in Atlanta, a Kroger, and Publix for 25 years. You just heard about me. So my biggest challenge has always been consumer awareness because I've had to always learn, and everyone needs to learn how to take care of your back room. The back room is, if your back room is not together, your front room is not going to look like anything. So with a small business, I've had to always make sure I have product on the floor, bottles, labels, caps, formulations made, sitting there, and then go out and sell it. And I never had the opportunity or enough capital to market the product. So that has been a challenge for me. Early on when I first started, I couldn't put my face on the product. I went out to a store in a suburb, and I told the manager, "This is my product." Back in the 80s, and he called corporate and said, "I do not want Black products in my store. I'm not trying to draw." So my product was a very general market, hidden product from Afro Americans. It took off very well in general market. I just was able and felt secure putting my face on the product 18 months ago. So there's some things that I'm very proud about and some things I've had to overcome, but it's all brought me to this wonderful point where I'm sitting here 35 years later, and I think my career is just starting. Because I was getting ready, honestly, Otis, to shut it down. Not shut down the retail side of it, but I was going to turn the business over to someone else because I'm like, how long do you keep doing this without getting the success that you really feel you should have, and the consumer awareness that you really feel you should have? And I tell people that my life changed that Tuesday morning when Aunt Jemima packed her bags and left. And it didn't change because I'm an Aunt Jemima product. It changed because the awareness of who she was shined. That light started looking for another light, and I just happened to be a couple of rows down from her.
Wow. Well, listen, I'm glad that you didn't stop. Here's why. Because sometimes when we're pushing, you know, and striving to get to where we know God says, you know, we're going to get to, we get frustrated because we're like, Lord, you know what? Now you promised me this, and I mean, I'm doing a little something, but I'm not where I want to be. And what I had to figure out and what I had to learn is sometimes delayed is just not denied. It's just delayed, but it's not denied.
Right.
So a lot of times we give up in the delay process, and then we deny ourselves. And God said, "No, I didn't. I delayed you. I didn't deny you. Denied yourself."
Right.
So I am so glad that you kept going. But you just said something interesting. I want to piggyback right quick, which is you said you was doing business with Denny's.
Mhm.
And that's amazing because I remember Denny's were getting sued a couple of times because being discrimination against African Americans. How did you
I
turn that around?
I came in, okay, so I read about that. And I came in right when I understood this is where opportunity and kind of meets with you in different parts. Because I've always seen with me that the opportunities have showed up when I least expected it. So I read that Dennis was the worst under the government. And I called Dennis every Monday morning. And once the new CEO came in, he asked his staff, well, what's going on? And they said, well, it's a woman calls here every Monday morning at 10:30. He said, what does she want? She wants to do business with us. So I became Denny's spokesperson. And they put posters up about me. But one thing I told Dennis, whenever you put a post up about me, I have to have a bottle of my syrup. And I did the same thing with General Mills. General Mills, I saw that General Mills didn't have any shares in the African American community. I went to General Mills and Biscuit, we put a neck hanger on. So I did that because that it shows you that when there's an opportunity, do not feel bad about going after it. So I went after those kind of opportunities and they manifested for me. But back to your point about timing and God, he's always been there. There's always been a time. When I say that I was ready to not give up, I was in a position where I said to myself, I've done this 35 years. Maybe it's time now for me to turn it over. Maybe it's time now because you see this product, 35-year-old brand, in every major retail product sitting on the shelf. People walking by you to go get your competitor who's supposed to be who you are, but it's not who you are. And I never in my wildest dreams I ever thought Aunt Jemima would do this. And that day before this happened, my daughter put on my Instagram, on her Instagram, she does a picture of Aunt Jemima, and you might see it, and a picture of my syrup. She had a cross against Aunt Jemima and a check on my syrup. That was Monday. And I said, Keisha, that's kind of strong, isn't it? That Tuesday morning, I say God was busy doing it. And he just stopped and looked over at me sleeping. He said, oh, time for your blessing. And I woke up that morning and my world changed. My world literally changed. And it didn't change because of her leaving. It changed because that light that she had, that spotlight,
Right.
looked around and I was seeing it shined on me a little bit. So and it just gave me the energy and the uh, awareness to, hey, this game is not over. Now let's get back in it. So I'm back in it. I got me some fresh running shoes on, and got me a full bottle of water, and I'm ready to get back out here. I'm ready to get out here and to be able to, because God said now it's a different mission, it's a different time, and people have to hear a different word.
What is what people can find you for? What is your website? Give the people the website.
Our website is Michele with one L, Michele Foods, FOODS.
Michele, you can find her at michelefoods.com.
And you're in Atlanta, right?
I'm in Atlanta.
We're in every Kroger and every Publix in Atlanta. Would y'all please sell out in Atlanta so I can get some accolades from Kroger?
Sure. Matter of fact, let everyone know what stores your products are in.
We're in Atlanta. We're in Kroger and Publix.
Kroger and Publix, okay.
We're in every Publix stores. Wherever Publix is sold, we're in Publix. We're up in the Midwest. We're in Chicago. We're in Wisconsin, Indiana. We're on the East Coast with Safeway, and we're on the West Coast with Safeway, and we're in some Krogers. Now, what happened? I will be in every Kroger store nationwide September 18th.
September 18th.
You want me to tell you what I did, Otis? I can tell you it's a secret. But I got, it's a secret. Now listen to this. I've been on Kroger shelves for 18 years, right? They have me in 4 divisions, small divisions. And when this kind of happened, everybody started looking for me at all different Krogers. So I called Kroger a week ago Wednesday and told Kroger, either you put me on every store by 3 o'clock or take me out.
Okay.
And I got every store.
God bless you. God bless you. Every store. So everyone, if you're in Atlanta, you can find her at Kroger's
Publix and Kroger's.
And Publix. across the country on September.
September 18th, we'll be in every major Kroger across the country. That's Dallas, Houston, Louisville, Memphis, anywhere there's a Kroger, we'll be there. And if we're in a store if you're in a store where we're not, if you request us, they can pull it in.
Okay, if you're not in that store, they can request you in that store. Okay. Well,
and we're on Amazon, but we sell out in an hour on Amazon. So now we're trying to figure that one out.
Wow.
Yeah, we sell out in an hour. So we keep giving it to them, but as soon as we get them, people are already having their shopping cart. Yeah.
Well, I thank you for coming on Interruptions. If there's anything I can do to help, get your name out there more and more and make people more and more aware of who you are, please reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to help.
I appreciate you so much. I appreciate this because this is really you. This is unique because this is my first podcast. So this is you've taught me some things sitting here because I didn't know how to do it. But I appreciate you, Otis. I really do. You're a man of God, and I feel that, and that's why God gave us this interview.
Thank you.
On a Sunday morning, we went to church.
Sunday morning. Another word. So once again, we thank you for blessing us with your presence. You are a treasure and a jewel to everyone. I'll reach back out to you and let you, once I edit it, let you know. And
okay.
When we'll premiere it. So let's stay in touch.
Please, let's stay in touch.
Let's stay in touch.
You have some syrup? Send me your address. I have your address, don't I? No, I have your phone number.
No, but I'll send it to you.
Send it to me, and I'll also send you my book.
Okay, thank you. That will be a blessing to help, and we'll spread the word about you. Once again, thank you for coming on Interruptions. Michele Hoskins. She is the actual real Auntie Mama.
I'm the real mother of syrups. Yes.
She's the real mother. So once again, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Otis. Enjoy your Sunday.
You too. God bless you.
Okay, God bless you. Bye-bye.